Roloff speaks about contradictions of living on the Roloff family farm. Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. Subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. For over 2 decades, Little People, Big World, LPBW fans have watched the Roloff family evolve, from raising their children and maintaining Roloff farms to managing fame and internal strife. But as the cameras have rolled and captured the drama, not all members of the Roloff family have remained under the public spotlight. One of the most private yet thought-provoking voices is that of Jacob Roloff, the youngest of Matt and Amy Roloff's children. Unlike his siblings, Jacob stepped away from the TLC series at a young age, and over the years, he has been openly critical of reality TV, capitalism, and even aspects of his family's public image. Yet despite his criticisms and desire for a quieter life, Jacob now lives and works on Roloff Farms, a twist that fans find contradictory. In a recent series of candid interviews and social media reflections, Jacob addressed these perceived contradictions head-on, sharing his evolving relationship with the farm, his family, and the ideology he holds dear. This article unpacks Jacob Roloff's complex stance on living at Roloff Farms, examining the philosophical, familial, and emotional threads that shape his story. The black sheep of the Roloff family. Jacob Roloff has long been considered the black sheep of the family. Born in 1997, he grew up in the public eye, appearing on LPBW since its debut in 2006. However, by the time he was a teenager, Jacob had become increasingly disillusioned with reality TV. He publicly exited the show in 2016 and later accused producers of manipulating family dynamics for drama. In a 2020 Instagram post, Jacob wrote, "I didn't want to be part of that manufactured narrative anymore. It never felt real, and I wasn't comfortable pretending." After his exit, Jacob became a vocal critic of the entertainment industry, capitalism, and even some of the values his family seemed to uphold on TV. His political and philosophical views, which leaned toward anarchist and anti-capitalist ideologies, stood in stark contrast to the entrepreneurial ambitions of his father, Matt, and his brother Jeremy, who both capitalized on the family brand. This ideological divergence led many fans to believe Jacob had permanently cut ties with the farm and the family business. So when he and his wife, Isabel, moved onto the property in 2021 to live and work, it sparked controversy and questions. 2. Returning to Roloff Farms, a personal decision. Jacob's return to the farm was not a publicity stunt, nor was it part of a TLC storyline. In fact, it occurred after the show had begun to wind down in terms of relevance. His choice to live and work on Roloff Farms with his wife and young son was deeply personal and driven by a variety of factors. In a recent Instagram quanda, Jacob explained, "The farm is my home. I have memories here. I grew up here, and even with the problems, it's part of me. Coming back wasn't about going back to the brand. It was about building a life that made sense for me, Isabel and Mateo." Jacob currently manages a significant portion of the farm's agricultural operations. He's involved in the hemp and regenerative farming projects, efforts that reflect his deeper commitment to sustainability and ecological living. Unlike the pumpkin patch and tourism operations that made Roloff Farms a regional attraction, Jacob's work is quieter, more grounded, and less performative. But his return sparked whispers of contradiction. How could someone so critical of capitalism and the family's TLC legacy now live and work on the very farm that fueled it all? 3. Addressing the contradiction. Jacob is fully aware of the perceived contradiction and has addressed it directly. But I don't pretend there aren't contradictions. Of course there are. But I also believe that people can hold multiple truths at once. He wrote in a lengthy Twitter post, "I can be critical of what the farm represented under TLC's cameras and still find value in cultivating land, raising my family here, and redefining what the farm means to me." Jacob draws a line between the symbolism of Roloff Farms as a brand and the reality of it as a physical space. While he may reject the branding and commercialization that came with LPBW, he does not reject the land, the lifestyle, or the community he can build there. He sees his role now as an act of reclamation, taking back the farm from the distorted image that reality TV once painted and reshaping it through ecological, family-focused, and intentional living. And TRV. The role of Isabel and their shared vision. Jacob's wife, Isabel Sophia Rock, plays a significant role in this vision. A writer and creative spirit in her own right, Isabel has been open about how the farm provides both grounding and inspiration for their family life. In a recent blog post, she shared, "There's a lot of noise online about what our life means or how people interpret our choices, but for us, living here is about peace, simplicity, and staying close to nature and family." Together, Jacob and Isabel are crafting a version of farm life that is more about spiritual fulfillment and environmental harmony than it is about TV fame or profit. They grow food, raise their son Mateo with minimal technology, and use their online platforms to promote causes they believe in, ranging from indigenous land rights to anti-consumerist values. A complicated legacy. Despite Jacob's efforts to reclaim his space and voice, the shadow of LPBW looms large. For many fans, Roloff Farms is inseparable from the show that brought it fame. And for that reason, Jacob's presence on the property remains a hot topic. Some fans argue that living on the farm implicitly benefits from the TLC legacy, even if Jacob isn't actively promoting it. Others defend him, pointing out that it's possible to use inherited resources for good without endorsing their origin. Jacob acknowledges this tension. "It's true I benefit from the farm's history. That doesn't mean I celebrate every part of it. It means I have a responsibility to use what I have access to in a way that aligns with my values." He's also hinted at wanting to preserve parts of the land for communal or educational purposes, possibly creating a future that looks very different from the commercial pumpkin season and gift shops that defined past years. 6. The changing face of Roloff Farms. Roloff Farms is in transition, with Matt Roloff aging and the family fracturing over inheritance disputes, particularly with Zach and Jeremy. The future of the property has been uncertain. Matt listed a portion of the farm for sale in 2022, triggering a public rift with his children. Jacob, however, has become a quiet constant. He doesn't seek ownership in the traditional sense. Instead, he's focused on stewardship. His projects are not revenue-driven, but rooted in